Did everybody watch this movie? We can recreate it. Rah, 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 rah. A friend of mine is like way, way into kaiju movies, has seen everything ever, has organized a bunch of his friends into a club that I think, when, what was it? When Shin Godzilla came out, they watched every single Godzilla movie in a row before it, and like each person wrote reviews and sent it in and did all this stuff. And he asked me to be part of it, and I was like, I just can't commit to that kind of thing. But he asked me for this movie if I would commit to writing a review, and I said, I grudgingly said, okay, yes, I will be part of it this time, and I will write a review. And I watched the movie, and I'm like, I don't know that I have that much to say. It's pretty much what you expect it to be. There's the typical, the monster fights are cool. There's a lot of human bullshit that, and it is what it is. But I will write my review. I finished the movie last night. It's fine. It's exactly what you'd expect. Yeah, Arsenal Roy. It's pretty wild. I mean, I will say, so essentially, there's a thread on the forum for those of you who aren't familiar. The last couple of starter products that WizKids has put out for both Attack Wing, which I'm going to talk about for a minute here, and for HeroClix, it's been basically branded as like its own game, its own mini. So there's a Wonder Woman miniatures game. Well, yes, it's HeroClix, but it's just called a Wonder Woman miniatures game. And then on the back, there's a little note that says compatible with HeroClix. And then same thing for the most recent big Attack Wing thing. It's called Star Trek Alliance. It's its own game you could play by itself. And then it says compatible with Star Trek Attack Wing. And again, if you have a game that's been going on for years and years and years and years, but it's not super popular like Warhammer, I gotta imagine at some point maybe it's not a bad idea to have a product that's called something else that you can play by itself, and it says that it's compatible with, and you can connect it to this other game that's been going on for a long time. So potential new customers will see this and not think, oh, I gotta go find like 15 years worth of this game to get into, blah blah blah. And again, Warhammer's different because it's so popular, people know all of that. But yeah, it's crazy what people get. We'll look at and assume means all of this other stuff, and it's like, no, it's just a marketing thing. It's no big deal. Anyway, what I do want to talk about briefly. Oh, and while I'm talking, Klingon versus X-Men. Hey, you can do it in HeroClix. Yeah, it's always the sky is falling for one reason or another. Okay. I want you all to let me know. Yesterday is a day that I tried primarily to stay off of the internet, because I think April Fool's Day is the stupidest thing online. I can't stand it. I saw a couple of things that went on. I did think the Star Trek Online thing was funny, that they're coming out with a game where you could date your starship. That's cute. I'll give them that one. But hit me up. Tell me what did I miss yesterday? What were the best and worst of the goofy waste of content April Fool's things? So Attack Wing, Star Trek Attack Wing. I've talked about it before on this channel. I taught Jessica how to play at one point many months ago. I love this game. I think it is great. WizKids is super awesome to hook me up with a lot of the new stuff when it comes out so I can review it. I just reviewed 2 new faction packs. So one is Klingons. Yes. Now, what was so cool about these 2 new faction packs is that they are both primarily, not entirely, but primarily based on Deep Space Nine content. Now, if you're a true Trek fan, you'll know that Deep Space Nine is the best of the series. No, I'm kidding. You like whatever you want. It's my favorite, but, your taste may vary. But yeah, so these are 2 separate faction packs. The Klingon Blood Oath pack and the Federation to Boldly Go pack. And what these do essentially is that they, for a long time, expansions for this game used to be just single spaceship expansion packs. Think X-wing, just like that, right? You buy it's one ship, cards to go with the ship, different options, weapons, things like that, and then you can add it to your fleet. WizKids figured out that for whatever reason, those weren't doing as well, and so switched over to this format where it's 4 ships in a pack. You get a bunch of card content, lots of different ways to play. Add it to your existing collection, just play right out of the box. You name it, you're good to go. It's much less price per ship, selling it this way, which is also pretty cool. But yeah, I'm a big fan. So like I said, my review went up on figures.com yesterday, the day before, I don't know, but I figured I'd talk about it briefly because it's stuff that I really like. So on the Klingon side, there was a really cool episode of Deep Space Nine in which the three Dahar masters, Kang, Koloth, and Kor. You might be familiar with them. They were famous Klingon captains that appeared way back in the original series. They come to Deep Space Nine to meet up with Jadzia Dax, the latest in a long line of Dax Trill symbionts, whatever, and say, we used to be buddies. We need your help. We have to go kill this dude called the Albino. It is a great episode. Fun storytelling. They did some cool stuff with like how the Klingons interacted with somebody whose gender changes with different symbiote pairings, and like the Klingons were totally cool with it, and it was just really neat. And also what was awesome is they brought back the 3 original actors who played those Klingon characters decades and decades ago to play them again in Deep Space Nine, which was super cool. So, as always, we've got 4 ships. Yeah, Erdansk. I mean, the worse the April Fool's things are the more serious they attempt to be. Thankfully, most companies don't really do that anymore, although there is a bit of a fallout concerning the whole Volkswagen thing, which is just so incredibly stupid. But yeah. Anyway, so you get 4 ships, and they gave a little bit of an interesting selection here. So we've got the Negvar, which is the super gigantic, sort of the last Klingon ship added to regular Trek content. So this is, pre Abrams verse and not including like Star Trek Online, stuff like that. So you get a giant one of those, which was not in the episode. 2 Katingas, the older ship that's continues to serve, and then a Burrell bird of prey. Now the ships themselves are not. One of them is Kang's old ship from way back when. The other ones are kind of like a mix of things. Like the Negvar is the IKS however you would pronounce that, DEVWL, Devul, which seems to be based on a name that was in Star Trek Online. I know, for some of these things, like, they make stuff up. It's not all, like, original content. But it's all cool stuff. And then for the captains, you can play original Kang from TOS, or old Kang, and then old Koloth, and the enemy, the Albino. Which is cool because he's both a Klingon and independent, so you can play him with different kinds of stuff. And I know if you're not into this game, a lot of this stuff doesn't mean that much to you, but essentially the way you play this game is everything is based on points. So if you're playing typically 100-point fleet, you would add up your points on the bottom. So the Negvar is pretty beefy at 28 points. Every ship needs a captain. Captains do additional stuff. And then you have upgrades that you add to the ship based on this upgrade bar down here. Crew, weapons, technology, and how many of each you can add. You got to pay for them, though, so you could potentially have 1 or 2 ships with just a bunch of stuff packed onto it, or you could do like 3 or maybe even 4 relatively bare bones ships. Just depends on how you like to play. But what's neat about these guys is if you play the Dahar Masters themselves, you have access to the Dahar Master Elite Talent, which is a pretty massive buff. Increase the captain skill of this captain by 1 for each copy of Dahar Master in your fleet, including this one. So if you managed to play all 3 of them, each one would get +3 to their captain skill. Yeah, that's madness. Awesome kind of madness. So we've got some crew members, including Mara, Kang's wife from the old series, which is neat to see her in there. Generic Klingon gunner, science station, and then some cool weapons, concussive charges, and the waylay ability. This game also, in the recent faction packs, added a new feature called Ambassadors. So it's a new symbol in the Ambassadors card, and it's this really cool thing. It has negotiations accepted and negotiations denied. And what happens is if you play one of these cards, a negotiator card, an ambassador, at the beginning of the game, this one would be assigned to one of your ships, and you would choose an enemy ship and say, we're opening negotiations. And then you would tell your opponent what the options are, and then your opponent gets to decide, are the negotiations accepted or are they denied? And depending on what the opponent says, either one of these comes into play. So it's just a game mechanic. So this one, for example, says, if negotiations are accepted, the target ship must plan its maneuver face up during the planning phase. Normally it's in secret. When the target ship sustains damage to its shields or hull, this effect ends. So essentially, you're going to have to show me how you're maneuvering, but as soon as you get damaged, then that goes away. Denied says you may plan the target ship's maneuver during the next planning phase. It has to be on the dial. It has to be green or white. It can't make the ship go off the battlefield. So if they deny it, you get to plan its maneuver. Denied also comes into effect if your enemy did accept, but then destroyed your ship. So it's a really fun, really narrative, fluffy kind of thing you can add to the game. It's not going to be super game breaking in most cases, I would imagine, but it's a cool new thing. It's nice to see them add new mechanics. And every faction pack comes with unique missions that are typically based on the episode. So this one's actually the Blood Oath mission, and it tells you how to play and how to set up the battlefield. I love it. I love all this crap. So that's the Klingon one. And then we have Federation. I see people have been talking about it. So yes, we have an Akira class here, the USS Spectre, Defiant-class, Reliant class, and Galaxy class, which yes is the Enterprise D from the Next Generation. But which are these specifically? Well, the Galaxy class is the USS Odyssey, very famous for an episode in Deep Space Nine in which the Federation first gets their strongest clue yet how bad a threat the Dominion is. Because these ships they're massive, they're really powerful, and the Jem'Hadar destroy it in that episode via a suicide attack, no less. But it gets destroyed, and So this ship and its captain have some cool abilities that help other ships, which makes total sense because in that ship it was defending others and got destroyed in the process. The Akira class is really cool, really strong in this game, and I found it interesting that we got one in this faction pack so quickly after the Star Trek Alliance game that recently came out that also had an Akira class in it. But then I realized that the only other one we've ever had was a single ship expansion from a couple of years ago, and it was really hard to find, very expensive on the secondary market. So it's cool that they've given us two very recently. It has some cool stuff. Whatever. The Defiant class, it's actually the USS Sao Paulo. Now, if you know your Deep Space Nine, which you might not, Deep Space Nine is a big old space station. So the show starts there. they've got these little things called runabouts that they fly around in. They're sort of a beefed up shuttle, but they can fly around. Does the Akira have the stupid anti-board gun? No, not specifically. You can add all sorts of crazy upgrades to it, but as base, no. It does have 4 attack, which is very strong. A couple seasons into the show, they're like, we need to give this show a little bit more travel capability, a little bit more offensive capability. So they gave them the USS Defiant. Whole crazy backstory, but basically it's the first Starfleet dedicated warship built to go up against the Borg originally, but then the Borg ended up being a different kind of threat, so it was mothballed. It also had some design flaws, but they brought it back. And essentially it's like the most powerful ship in a tiny little frame. That's its one flaw. It's too powerful for its small frame, and they have to figure out how to fix it. Yeah, it's an escort class, but it's also described as like a pocket destroyer and whatever. It's super OP for its size, and it's great, and it's awesome, and I love it. Now, there were issues with the budget for the show at times, and what that ended up, how partly that was realized. Yeah, Pocket Destroyer. I guess that's a pretty good name. One of the ways that manifested is that partway through the Dominion War, there was this huge battle. It was a really great space battle featuring the Defiant, a bunch of other stuff. And then by the time it got to the finale of the show, and again, this is sort of like, who knows how much of this is true, but this is what the official story is. They ran out of money to do more space battle scenes, so they had to reuse shots from previous space battles. And in one of those previous space battles, the Defiant was destroyed. Everybody got off the ship okay, but it was destroyed. And again, it was one of these moments where like, holy crap, the Dominion has this weapon that can cut through Federation Starfleet shields and destroy their ships. What are they going to do? The Defiant, our beloved Defiant, was destroyed. Well, a couple episodes later, the Sao Paulo gets dropped off, another ship in the same class, and then they get special dispensation to rename it the Defiant again. Now, again, in the real world, well, clearly this is because they're going to reuse effect shots that say Defiant on it, and it can't have a different name on the ship. So it's like, well, is the tail wagging the dog, or is the dog, it's... Anyway. So I expected this to be another Defiant, but I was surprised that it's actually a Sao Paulo. Now, while the Defiant is super OP in the show, in this game, it's not quite as much. It was kind of disappointing that it's not as powerful. It doesn't have to be like ridiculously overpowered, but the Defiants in the past, they've been okay. We've got a couple different versions, but they're not great. The content in this box is really good. Now, you have to spend a lot of points to get all this stuff together, but it's pretty cool. It has a special ability. There's an ability you can use called, thank you so much for the resubscription. I appreciate it so much. Yes, we will be painting some more at some point soon. There's an action you can take called Battle Stations. It gives you a little Battle Stations token. And Battle Stations are the most flexible of the tokens that you can apply, because it's something you could potentially use when you shoot at something and potentially use when somebody shoots at you. So this is a cool thing that it just happens, and it says that when you're attacking, if you spend a token, you get a free one back, which is pretty awesome. Very, very handy. And then, oddly but fine, they threw in a Miranda class. By the time we get to Deep Space Nine, this ship is ancient, but it's still around. They still use it. This one is kind of cool. It can help out other friendly ships, nearby ships as well. Now, how else have they increased the fighting ability of Defiant / Sao Paulo? Well, there's a new Captain Sisko card, and it's really, really good in most cases. So he's 8 Captain skill, which is, he's not a 9, but it's still really good. He's got two abilities here. First off, and they're both free. They're both free. They're just passive things that happen. When he's attacking a Dominion ship or a Dominion captain, he automatically adds a critical hit. That's huge. And especially it helps to balance out the fact that the Defiant/Sao Paulo only has a 3 attack. Because he's automatically adding another... Now, yes, it is only against Dominion, but that makes sense. It's cool, and it's thematic, and it's fluffy, and it's narrative, and I love it. And also, at the end phase, you automatically remove an auxiliary power token from beside the ship. That is also huge. Because like in many of these kinds of games, especially in the movement phase, maneuver phase, you can do like really stressful maneuvers and stuff, and that puts a token on you that sort of penalizes you. But he's like, no, we're just gonna take it off at the end of the turn. So that's really cool. Really like that. Like I said, the captain of the Odyssey has an ability that helps out nearby people. We get a Captain Worf, we get a Captain Dax, which would be good to play with the Blood Oath content. She can use Klingon elite talents, which is cool. For crew members, we've got Kira. There's also a Captain Kira from another set. And yes, that's the appropriate way to say it because Nerys is her first name. Don't get it wrong. Well, what we would consider first name. So crew members, Kira, Julian, some background people like Sarita Carson and Enrique Muniz. We get a Dax, Ezri Dax. Enhanced shields. If you're playing a big ship, you can give it even more shielding, which is pretty cool. But then again, they gotta give more stuff to my Defiant. So we have ablative armor, people pronounce it differently. Can only go on a Defiant-class ship. And look at this. It gives them +1 defense dice when defending. And when it's defending, it converts all critical hits to regular hits. That is massive. And again, so if you play a Defiant-class ship, or there's this, I mean, Sao Paulo is really good, or one of the Defiants, with this Benjamin Sisko and this armor, and you go up against the Dominion, it's real good. Also, phaser cannons for Defiant-class ships, which essentially let you do this for attack, and then shoot again with your regular weapon. So yeah, I'm very happy. I can't wait to actually run this combination. Like I said, you have to add all of these upgrades together, which is going to increase its point cost, but it's going to be super fun. There's a dorsal torpedo pod for Akira-class ships, a couple standard photon torpedoes, and then again for the new ambassadors, we've got Luoxana Troy and Sarek, who do some kind of cute things. Insurrection and Operation Rescue are the missions for these guys. So yeah, like I said, I definitely a big fan of this game. Highly recommend it if you're a Star Trek fan. The miniatures look really nice. All of the current releases are all metallic painted. If you look at my review, if you care, you can go to figures.com and see my review, but I did comparison shots with previous versions of all these ships that they've done in different colors, different metallic and non-metallic. So yeah, that is that. These 2 faction packs are set to release within the next couple months. You know, release schedules are pretty wonky right now. There were 2 other faction packs that just came out. A Dominion pack that's mostly Cardassian content, and a Vulcan pack that's like half Vulcan, half Federation. Thereabouts. Because there are the Vulcans are part of the Federation, Starfleet. depending on the area you're talking about. And there are some Starfleet ships that are completely crewed by Vulcans, which is interesting. Yeah, Ferengi box was last year. I reviewed that one. That one was cool because they got a bird of prey, a Klingon bird of prey that's used by the Ferengi. All right, let's look at some hobby stuff. Now I have a confession to make. A few nights ago this week, my local hobby slash play group, we did a Zoom meetup, and I did some hobbying. I felt like I was cheating on all you people. I'm sorry, but I did do some hobbying with them. And I was working a little bit more on the Exalted Chariot, and I think my camera's further away than it usually is. It's okay. So this is where we are so far. So we've got the central chariot part, 2 Seekers attached to it, and 1 big old spinny bladed wheel axle thing. Ooh, okay, Zardoz, I'll check it out later today. It's not that. Well, I didn't say I did the whole thing. There was a lot of discussion, but yeah, because I don't want to forget about this. I do want to get this done so I can get it out of the way. Oh, and then I started on the next piece that goes on top, because I will have 4 Seekers, and then 2 of these axles. So yeah, so let's see. Let's work on that for a little bit. Just moving all my Daemonettes out of the way. Oh, I have to stretch. Come on. There we go. 1, 2, 3. I would say that I guess I could share my review of Godzilla vs. Kong when I finish it, but that overall that group is apparently it's very private. It's very hush hush, so I can't share links to everybody else's content. No, Aerodance, it was just you people, you lovely people that I was never felt that about. All right, so we've got this thing. I finished this page now again. Oh, gotta build another one of these axles. Now, thankfully, all these parts come together really well. It's just a lot of little parts and making sure they go in the right order. I actually screwed it up on one side. I didn't put it in the right order, and I glued it together. And then I realized it a few minutes later. And again, as I always say, thank God for plastic glue, because I was able to pull it apart and then reset the order. But yeah, every single one of these is a different piece, so it's a lot. But it looks cool when it's all done. I read online people having built these and how they paint it, and they're like, well, you gotta build these axles in like different segments and then paint them before you put them all together. I'm like, I can't get down that far in the rabbit hole. It would take me forever to do anything. Also, as you know, I don't paint that often, so I would get even less done. I'd have even more bits and pieces just laying around. So I'm not going to do it that way. Nobody has any other April Fool's jokes that you saw yesterday that were interesting? I mean, that's fine. Like I said, if you're like me, you avoid that stuff anyway. I know there was something about like Velveeta cheese doing a skincare line or something. I don't know, some goofy crap. It's all goofy. We don't need it. Oh, right. Yep. I saw something about the Linus Tech Tips OnlyFans. Sure. Hey, you know what? Everybody should have an OnlyFans. Why not? There's somebody wants everybody. No, a mix of gravy and cranberry sauce. Yeah, that sounds like something that would be out there. We have all these beet chups and mayo chups and weird combination foods. That definitely does not seem beyond the pale. All right, 651 and 17 makes perfect sense that those would be together. I'm running out of spinny blades on this one. So if you recall that the way these work is you get two identical sprues because one sprue, well, one of these sprues plus one of these sprues will make a standard chariot, but if you double it, which this box does, you can make the combined exalted form of the chariot. So that's why sometimes you have to bounce back and forth between the sprues. Yeah, crunch. Oh, yeah, Savage Punch. That's definitely not cool. Okay, this is number 6. Good. I hope everybody is progressing toward getting their vaccines. Either having started them or making appointments or being up on when they're about to start. Oh, that giant Tiamat seems like it's a real thing that's happening. Undead Saints fan getting soon. Awesome. Getting next. Oh, look at all those appointments. I love it. Love to see it. Good. Good, good, good. Look at that. That's fantastic. Ruiner, awesome. Awesome. Look at all you wonderful people getting your vaccines. That's great. On behalf of the entire population, I thank you. And I'm glad that you're all... And of course, if you can't get the vaccine because of medical conditions, which of course there are, then you are absolutely excused. But everybody else, thank you for protecting not only yourself, but everybody else out there. Especially those who can't be vaccinated, because there certainly are those people. My wife and I have both had our first shot. We'll be getting our second one in mid-April. Awesome. Look at that. Good, everybody. Yeah, I know it can be, depending on where you are, what the rules are, how things go, it can be more or less difficult. But stick with it. We'll all have access before too long. We've been doing a lot of research about the kids because there's no vaccine for kids, and we don't want while kids get and transmit less, they can still get sick and everything. But we've been told that kids are pretty good. So of course we'll definitely get them vaccinated when it comes out eventually. Okay. So this is going to be the central part of this new axle that's going to attach to this thing, which attaches to this thing and holds it up over this thing. Okay. I think that's how this is going to work. Oh, Ruiner. Well, yeah, I'm glad to hear that they were able to step in and help out with that. All right, so this one is interesting because it has this special notch for that piece. So I got to make sure I put this on the right way. Actually, it needs to go this way. That's the other thing on these. They do fit together in a particular way. That should work. Okay, cool. Yeah, when politics get in the way of, well, I mean, politics always get in the way of everything, but especially when politics and public health get together, it's not always the best combination. And if somehow you're here and you are somehow anti-vaccines, I don't know what to tell you. Please read the information. I know my viewer count did just drop, so maybe maybe I bothered somebody. I'm sorry. I just I do feel really strongly about this. No, as I've said before, you never look at that viewer count because it's number one, it doesn't matter. I appreciate anybody who's here watching, and number two, it is wildly inaccurate and swings and doesn't count some people for some reason, and no, it's all good. It's all good. It sort of says to put this on later. I'm just gonna stick this on now. Make sure I don't lose sight of it. Okay, cool. So we've got the central piece done. I know it's Undead Saints fan, so it's totally fine. Yeah, I know, right? Jenny McCarthy. She used to be so much more fun before all of her weird views came to light. What's that movie that she did? Man, I haven't seen that in a while. Jenny McCarthy did a comedy a long time ago. What was the name of that movie? Carmen Electra was in it a little bit. One of the guys from the American Pie movies. What the heck was the name of that movie? It's actually good. I like that movie. It's funny. Okay, so we've got these three sections. Each one is divided into subsections. So you got to keep track of what you're building. Oh boy. Okay. So, all right, I got to do this part first, which just makes the center, and then Dirty Love. That's it. Yeah, I like that movie. It was pretty darn funny. Okay, so I'm gonna do it this way first. You know, I never got into the American Pie movies. I think I might have been a little bit too old. I don't know. I mean, I just didn't really like the American Pie movies. But yeah, Dirty Love, I like that movie. Ruiner, I like that. Yes, somehow they're putting trackers, chips in our butt. I don't know. It's so stupid. Hey, Hudsonizer. You know, I'm also not a fan of the basketball movie, which I know a lot of people out there like, and that's fine. All right, I'm looking for part number 13. So this part does go kind of slowly, just because there are so many pieces, but it looks cool and it's satisfying once you get them all together. And again, I just have to remember the order that I'm doing it in. Look, hey. Movie opinions are totally individual. It's, you know, I try not to criticize people too much on their. Super Troopers is it's funny. I tried to rewatch it a little while ago, and I was like, oh man, there are stretches of this movie that are just really, really dumb. But no, that's a funny movie. The second one was mostly forgettable, but had some funny parts. All right, need part number 20, which is here. Good. Okay, so these three are on this side. I'll do those first. No, not another teen movie. Yeah, I think I did watch that at one point. I don't remember enough of it to give you my my full opinion. Ooh, will I ever actually talk about the actual Warhammer? Maybe. You never know. Tune in, and you might just hear that. Hudsonizer. Oh, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Oh man, that movie's so bad. Although I'll give you a hot take, I haven't really liked any of the Wolverine movies. Sorry. Yeah, that includes Logan. It was all right. I always find it weird when you have movies. I mean, look, tragic movies are fine, but when it's just like 2 hours of torturing your favorite character, I don't know. Sometimes it's just like I get it, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know, I don't. And also, there's this really weird thing that people have done, and they've convinced themselves that that movie is like, oh, it's way beyond. It's not a superhero movie. It's like this cerebral, emotional experience. It's like he fights a really badly done CG clone of himself. It's like it's a yeah, that movie has some goofy crap in it too. It's not it's not all high art. Sorry to tell you. Yeah, no, I mean, look, that movie has great parts. Yeah, Erdinsk, exactly. It's misery porn. I'm sorry, I have strong feelings about some things. Okay, so this part again, you just have to keep track of which. Wait, it goes. Which way does this go? Shoot. As I just say that. All right, this has to go this way, which means it plugs in this way. Nope. Oh man, I almost did it. I almost did it, folks. I almost did it the wrong way. Okay, that way. There we go. Okay. Oh, Godzilla versus Kong is like greatest movie ever made. No, it's fine. Hudsonizer, yeah, I talked about Deep Space Nine a lot a little bit ago. Unfortunately, you missed that part of the conversation. Big fan, big fan. Okay, all right. So this is that part that goes on this side, making sure. Yes, that should work. Let's add it right now. Okay. So Hudsonizer, yeah, I'm gonna avoid spoilers for Godzilla versus Kong. Although, I mean, there's lots of stuff out there on those spoilers already. Hudson Edger said, I'm on season 2, episode 18. I failed to see how any of these other Star Trek shows could possibly be better than this masterpiece. I mean, like I said before, Deep Space Nine is definitely my favorite of the series. They did some really cool stuff, really deep stuff. Of course, look, it has its goofy episodes, just like every other series. It's got its comedic episodes that can be hit or miss. But yeah, I mean, it's just I think it's really good. And when it gets into the war, there's a lot to like. But again, there's some people out there and their favorite show is Voyager. Like, all right, that's cool. No, no shade on Voyager. It's all right. Well, sorry, Hudsonizer. I guess that is a that is a minor spoiler, but yes, Odo's great for sure. Garrick is Garrick is one of my favorite characters in all of media. Just absolutely great. Okay, number 9. No, yes, number 9. Now, I enjoyed Voyager. I haven't gone back and rewatched it. I'm sure there's stuff I'd really like. But man, there are some episodes of Voyager that are just completely unwatchable. You know the ones I'm talking about. The ones where they evolve into lizards. It's just like, why did they do that? Arsenal, right? I have not gotten around to watching that yet. I really need to. I really need to. But yeah, I've heard great things about it, and I'm definitely in the camp that I wish they would figure out a way to do an HD remaster of the show, which I know it was filmed in like the wrong whatever that makes it harder to do a remaster unless they dumped a bunch of money into it, but I would buy it or whatever. I mean, I pay for CBS, or well, not Paramount Plus, so yeah. And Hudsonizer, not a spoiler, but he'll continue to increase his appearances throughout the series. Okay, yeah, Arsenal Roy, it's on my list. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Yeah, Voyager. Look, like I said, Voyager. It's easy to joke about it, but no, Voyager was great. It's funny. Voyager was on when I was in part of. I don't remember exactly what the dates were for when Voyager started, but it was on when I was in high school. To date myself a little bit. I mean, obviously it had a long run, so it overlapped. But I vividly remember it was on Monday nights. And Monday nights were also, Monday nights were also when my Boy Scout meetings were. And wouldn't you know it, there were a lot of Monday nights when, gosh darn it, I just had too much homework to go to Boy Scouts. Gotta stay home. And oh look, the TV's on. Well, sometimes you have the TV on while you're doing homework. These things just happen. What are you gonna do? Right? Hudsonizer, it's so subjective, and people look back at these shows and realize that like there were things in there that that might not have been so obvious at the time, and the shows are of their time. And yeah, it's really subjective. There's stuff about Enterprise that I liked. It had a bit of a rocky start, but when that one got going, it got into some really cool territory. It had a weird ending, unfortunately, that turned a lot of people off, but they're all good for different reasons. And again, and it's totally fine. You are absolutely a Star Trek fan if you like just one of them, or if you like all of them. It's all good. making sure I have these things in the right order here. And then there are the movies, and that's a whole other thing. Some good, some less good. That's a cool thing, we've gotten so much Star Trek content over the years. Not all of it is going to be great for everybody. No, that's fine. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. We have the central part done. All right, good. Yeah, Erdens, the series finale of Enterprise was just, it just kind of pulled the rug out of the whole thing. But I mean, also, honestly, the season finale of, or the series finale of Voyager, while it had a bunch of cool stuff in it, it was just like, it that also just kind of like, I don't know, it did some of the characters just not not good in my opinion. Oh no, Ruiner, that's so sad. Oh my god, that's awful. Well, at least I'm glad you were able to eventually find out what happened. All right, Hudsonizer, if you want like only one episode, then that's okay. I mean, kind of the entire premise of Voyager over the whole series of that show is how Janeway is going to stick to her principles no matter what. Never take shortcuts that are unethical. And, and then the last episode is like, screw that. We're just gonna do some cool stuff. It's just fun. And like I said, it was certainly cool. And oh man, the tech in that last episode was amazing. But yeah, Enterprise was just it did such a weird thing with that one. Oh, Arsenal Roy, that's weird. Interesting. Yeah, Hudson Ezra. No, I get it. 22. And now there's so much Star Trek content. Like it's weird if you came across an adult person who had never watched Star Trek before and was like, hey, I'm interested in getting into this Star Trek thing, and they like science fiction or whatever. Where would you have them start? I don't know. I mean, obviously, it would depend on the person. Some people, you would imagine they'd like one thing more than another, but would you start with the original series? Would you go back and start with Discovery now? I don't know. I don't know how I would do that. Mike, for Benjamin knows about Star Trek. He's seen. We showed him a couple episodes of the original series, and he was like, it's alright. We showed him a couple episodes of the original animated series, so that was a good introduction. But yeah, it's sort of like with Star Wars. It's like, well, if somebody's just going in, where do you start them? I don't know. Oh, Galaxy Quest, so good. Although again, man, the more we know about Tim Allen in real life, the less good Galaxy Quest can be. But no, that is a genuinely great movie. See, I think we can all agree on that, right? I still need to find. I don't have a toy or a model of the Protector. I think it was Mobius models. They did a model kit, but then they also sold what they call a completed model. So it's just their model kit, but they put it together and painted it, so you don't have to. I was meant to buy it, but I didn't. I never have. Definitely something missing in my collection. What is it? The NSEA protector? Something like that. Okay. The little guys on this far end. 22. Goes this way. Is that right? Yeah, that should be right. Okay, cool. Whew. Yeah, at some point when whatever media conglomeration it is owns literally all of these things, uh, they'll just make they'll make Galaxy Quest and Orville part of Star Trek somehow, alternate timelines or something, and it'll all be officially interconnected. Okay, so interesting. This axle is works a little bit differently than the previous one. So that's in the middle. This is on the far end, and then in between is this one, 16, 13, 12. 16. Yeah, obviously I'm a big Star Trek fan. I could talk about that for days. 13. Oh, 13. I gotta go back to the other sprue. Yeah, WizKids did not send me to review the Dominion slash Cardassian faction pack, the one that just came out. So I gotta go buy that one because definitely need that one. There's a Gul Dukat in it who's really good. He's such a great character too. Character you love to hate. Number 12. Oh, cool. It's right here. Boom. Okay. Neato. How many, as of now, how many Star Trek movies are they pretending are in development? Didn't they just announce another one? Or, like, kind of say another one's happening? Oh, hey, Ro. Yeah, Dukat, Dukat is that one. Yeah, I won't give away too many spoilers because Hudsonizer is watching the show, which is awesome. But he was a great villain that they did some really fun stuff with over that entire series. Just like, how do we take somebody who's smarmy and villainous, but then give him some really good evolving storylines? He's a good example of that for sure. And also, that's one of those great characters that it just looks like the actor just had so much fun with it, like really diving into the part. I love that. Is he really a villain in the end? I mean, Ro, that's definitely a good question and up for debate. Oh, Arsenal Roy. Okay. Oh, right, Kalinda Vasquez. Yeah, and then Yeah, I'm hoping those other versions are not on the table anymore. I mean, you know what? Look, if they do come about and people are excited, that's great. But uh, neither of those really interested me. Okay, this goes forward. Come on, there you go. There we go. And next, this way. I've given my thoughts on the uh, the Abrams movies. They're they're not for me. Again, lots of really fun acting, but yeah, they're not for me. Yeah, and Rowan, that's like I said, that's totally a valid feeling. Okay, so these pieces go with this piece. I mean, I think some of the old movies are fun. They're not as rewatchable though as I thought they would be. And then there's a big piece that goes in between this and that one. I worry about missing one of these and then have the whole thing be off. That would be tragic. I need a 23. I assume it's this one? Yes. And there's one for the other side. Oh, okay, cool. This is working out well. Yeah, definitely expressing lots of love today for Deep Space Nine. For sure. Great series. Yeah, Next Generation is also great. Um, oh, there was somebody who I think it was a Twitter thing, but it said like it ranked it didn't rank the different series, but it said like this show was the best. This show had the best arcs. This show had the best captain. This show had the best music, and it was like each one had the best of something, and I thought that was kind of cool, and made sense. I was like, all right, yeah, I'll agree with that. Need a 29. One of these spikes on the end. I assume it is this one. Okay. Now, in theory, all I need to do on this side is add the spike on the end, and this will attach it to that, and then this side will be done. That's the theory. And this needs to go front ways. Yes, okay. The blades spin pointy side going forward. It's not necessarily what you'd expect. Or what I would expect. Okay. Cool. And then also the blade on the end goes forward. Okay. Cool. Look at that. If I go for the focus, there we go. Pretty rad. Let's see if I can get the other side done. Let's go. Let's see. Let's go inside out. So I need 23. This will actually finish the axles, so that's cool. Yeah, Eridan's. Yeah, of course, not everybody's going to agree. But like I said, it was a pretty good list of just like looking at, picking out what sort of some of the best things were from each series. Yeah, and again, to each their own. Maybe I should just cut these all out and have it all put together. Okay. 1, 2, and 5. I'm running out of pieces on this sprue. Oh, but it's the next 2 that I need. Perfect. Look at that. 1. All right, we should talk about what's happening this weekend. Yeah, Arsenal Roy, like I said, I haven't gone back and done a Voyager rewatch in a little while, but I imagine that's probably going to be my case too. I mean, I didn't dislike Janeway when I watched it originally, or at least I don't remember. But yeah, I think rewatching it, I'd probably like it more, especially since she's a captain dealing with a lot of children essentially. Okay, all the wheel parts are off of that one, and I can relate to corralling children. Now, tomorrow night. Well, tomorrow, I should say, tomorrow, the Warhammer War Room stream is back, triumphantly back. My special guest I'm very excited to talk to is none other than our good friend, Zardoz, who's here. Hobbyist, game expert. Oh crap, wait, what did I just... Okay, that was number 5. Yes, good. 5. So yeah, very excited. Zardoz, you're here. We're going to talk tomorrow. It's going to be super cool. I am looking forward to it. We'll go over what's new. We'll talk a little bit about, as I promised, we're going to talk some more about Knights and Titans. We can take a look at some of what the models are and see what Zardoz is working on and what he's been up to. It's going to be great. Very excited about that. So that'll be tomorrow afternoon. Then tomorrow night, if you haven't been aware, if you haven't been on the Discord, tomorrow night is another Home Buddies trivia night. Now, if you missed the last one, oh boy. Oh boy. It was big time. Big time. Ro, that's totally fine. Like another thing that I've talked a lot about before, and I in fact love to talk about, is people get into this hobby in different ways. You can like painting but not assembly. You can like assembly but not painting, and there are ways to get around that. You can work with somebody who does one thing. Whoa, hit the camera. You can work with somebody who does one part and you do the other part. You can buy models that have already been put together and then you paint them. Like there's so many different ways of enjoying the hobby. It's all good. There are lots of people who do the hobbying part but never play the game, and that's fine too. It's all good. I tell you, it's all good. Okay, yes. So here's what happened. If you weren't there for the last trivia night, Emma's trivia was just fantastic. Questions were great. Multiple teams got every answer right. Every answer. But what we learned very quickly is that the power-ups in the game can be used for good, or they can be used for evil. They can be used to massively screw over your opponents. Because so much of the game is about getting those bonus points from mind melds and double or nothing at the end of a turn, or the end of a category. And if you use the skip function, you can annihilate people's chances to get those extra points. Now, this was realized fairly early on in that episode, but my God. Oh, hey, Mom. Mom was there. It just, like, shook. It shook our world. And then it became a game of trying to outwit the opponents. Cameron got the worst brunt of it. Again, his team got every answer right, and I think came in last or second to last place through very little fault of his own. Going into the last round, my team had the lead, and I knew what I needed to do, and I blew it. The game was mine to win. All I had to do was throw some answers to prevent other people from getting their bonuses, and I didn't. Instead, I went for the perfect score, and it lost me the game. Lost us the game. I take full responsibility. So Emma has said, now I don't know, this might have changed, but she said that tomorrow night we will have the same rules, the same power-ups, all the same stuff. Now again, it's possible that changed, but I don't think so. And if it is the same again, oh boy, there's going to be a lot of figuring. A lot of figuring behind the scenes. Now, our teams have not yet been locked down, as far as I know. So definitely go to the Discord, go to the trivia room. There's a link where you can go and sign up to be on a team. You can put down your preference for home buddies. Get on a team, or you can be on Team Chat, who also did very well last time. I made a big deal of it, and I did apologize later because it was absolutely heat of the moment, crazy stuff going on. But whoever was in charge of Team Chat played one of the power-ups at the not exactly the right time, but it's fine. And they figured out what happened, and it was just a simple mistake that was definitely anybody could have made it. But I think Team Chat is definitely going to be a contender tomorrow. I think Team Cameron is going to be. They are going to be looking for that win hard. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. And of course, those of us who didn't win will have some new team members, potentially. Who knows? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. Oh, Ro, I saw your last message there. That's awesome. I mean, yeah, there's also definitely a part of this hobby that's just about watching other people do cool stuff, for sure. If you decide to get into it or think about it at some point, let us know. And people like me and Zardoz, and we can offer suggestions about what you might like and how to go about getting into it. It's all good. Wait, did I just change the order of my... Oh, crap, what did I do? Oh, no. Okay, this is the way, I think. So yeah, I'm sure my team will be awesome. I'm gonna do my best. I have some ideas on how to do things. I'm not gonna say them here because some of you will be on other people's teams, and that's fine. But I'm not gonna let all the cats out of the bag. Okay, so big, medium, small, medium, tiny, big, medium. Okay, cool. I think this is the order. I think I'm about to glue all pieces together. Wait, nope, that's not right. Shoot. Okay, it goes in that way. Okay, now I got it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, I'm strategizing hard. I'd like a win. I'm all about having fun, even if I don't win. So it's certainly not necessary, but it'd be cool to get a win in trivia. Again, my team last time was awesome. We did a perfect game. We got them all right. It was a nice group effort too. Everybody contributed. We always have a good time. I kind of missed going for the goofy, silly, wrong answers. I do enjoy that as well. So all of that essentially is saying, definitely tune in if you can tomorrow night. If you can join us and be on a team, that's great. If you just want to watch, or if you catch the VOD later, but it's gonna be interesting. We'll see what crazy categories Emma comes up with. If they'll be related to another Marvel thing or something. I don't do a lot of trivia games and competitions and stuff. I know a lot of people do. My mom loves trivia and does it a lot. But I gotta say, there was a particular question that Emma had last time that I really loved. And not just because we got it right. I think just about everybody did. But it was the Sailor Moon question. But it was a question that you could get right. It was about some character is Mars, and what are the kids' names or something. But it was a really cool question because you could get it right from 3 different perspectives. If you knew Sailor Moon, the anime or the manga, I assume, which I don't, you could get it right if you know Greek mythology, which I do, and you could get it right if you know astronomy, which I also knew. So I thought that was just a really cool example of a potential trivia question. I thought that was really neat. Look at this. Look at this crazy thing. Yeah, the moons of Mars. Yeah, I forget exactly how it was worded, but yeah, I like I said, to me that's like an ideal trivia question. Cool. So this thing will end up behind this one. And they like fit together like that. And then this thing goes up on here, attaches like that. And then it'll get 2 more seeker creatures on the sides. And then it'll be 4, I think 5 Daemonettes on top. And then it'll be done. This is pretty cool. I'm gonna make sure all these little parts dry before I get to the next part. But yeah, this thing is neat. Again, it's a lot of parts, but they fit together really well for the most part, and good stuff. Okay, well, I'm gonna get going here. I've got some family stuff to work on today. Excuse me. Erdansk, I finished book 1 of The Expanse, started book 2. Very much enjoying it. It's so interesting reading the novels after having watched the show, or at least up to where they are in the show, because of course I can't visualize the characters other than how they are portrayed by the actors. But so far, at least, like the actors feel like they did spot on casting. It would be interesting to talk to somebody who had read all of the novels first to know what other people thought of the casting going the other way. Except for, I mean, you can't really portray belters exactly the way they're described, physically at least in the books, because they're quite inhuman. But just their physicality is so different. But otherwise, I think it's great. Okay, come on, let's get this thing going. All right, we are going to raid R.I.P. Mika. And yeah, so everybody, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend if I don't see you. But please, if you are around, come back tomorrow for... Yeah, Erdansk, I mean, bad things happen. We learn things about people, unfortunately. If you get a chance, come back tomorrow for the War Room stream featuring our good friend Zardoz. And then tomorrow night, dun dun dun, trivia. Like I said, otherwise have a great weekend. And yeah, I'll see you next week. We'll be back on Monday with more Virgil's Aeneid. Normal streaming week next week, I think. I don't think there's anything weird going on, but who knows? You never know until it happens. And cool. All right. See you, everybody. Wow. Well, that's a great way to end the stream.